Can you hear me now? Am I heard now? I hope I'm heard now. I think I know what the problem was, but hopefully. Okay, yes. All right, I'm heard now. Awesome. Yeah, so today's a just kind of chatting about dinosaurs sort of day. I don't know. We'll just talk about any miscellaneous topics if we so can, I suppose. Holy crap, you have a lot of dinosaur figures? I do. I've been really collecting them over the past few years. And I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing all right. You made dinosaurs out of pipe cleaners? That's awesome. I think I used to do that all the time when I was younger, especially when I was like in second grade or something like that. I think we used to have to do not have to, but we used to do projects with pipe cleaners, and I think I was trying to make dinosaurs. Classic dinosaur kid, you know. Have I seen the Jurassic World Evolution 3 Baby Spino? Yes, some people pointed it out to me in my video breaking down the new module, and that's cool. I don't think I ever stopped to consider what the baby Spinosaurus would look like in Evolution 3, and I'm pretty excited to see it, because it's going to be like a Jurassic Park version of the animal, which is going to be a little bit different. I need more fossils and archaeology gameplay. Well, yeah, you're in luck because I've been doing a little bit more of that. So there should be a new episode coming out sometime next week. Well, that's weird. Why is it doing that? Okay. Who would win, Aladar versus real life Iguanodon? I think the real life Iguanodon is way more beefy than Aladar is. So I think I would probably put my money on real life Iguanodon. But he's anthropomorphized, so who knows what he can do. Am I excited for Forgotten Bloodlines, Agate, and the Hatchling 2? Oh, I haven't heard about it. I didn't know they were doing a Hatchling 2. Now that I do, I'm excited for that. But Forgotten Bloodlines, yes, I'm very excited for that. That's going to be really exciting to see, especially since Nigel Marvin is narrating it. Make the Pachycephalosaurus DNA you have in fossils and archaeology. I probably could. I plan on getting to all of those guys eventually. Have you read Dinosaur Sanctuary? I read one of the books. I got one of the books because it had Spinosaurus on the cover, actually. Yeah, I have one of them right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah. That's like the only one I read because it had like a really good Spinosaurus design, and I was like, that's sick. So yeah. I don't have the rest of them though. I wouldn't mind doing like a full video on that series because the designs are really good. Like the designs are really solid in that. I should read more. Yeah, I probably should. It also, like, one thing that I really liked about it is like it came with a map. Like it came with like a little map of like the park that they have. And I thought that was pretty sick. I don't know if you guys could see it here, but it's like you got some really cool dinosaurs here, like Centrosaurus, Plateosaurus, which I always love to see Plateosaurus, Edmontosaurus, Dinochirus, Dilophosaurus, which looks gorgeous. All kinds of really cool creatures. I think the best part of Jurassic World Rebirth for me was the river raft scene. I think I agree with you that. I think that's I agree with you on that. I think that's probably like the highlight of the movie for me. Who wins, Carcharodontosaurus saharicus or Spinosaurus aegypticus? I think the Spinosaurus is heavier, so I'd probably give it to that. The many interpretations of hallucigenia. I wonder if there are any like depictions of hallucigenia. Hold on. Be kind of sick if someone, like, if it was placed into something somewhere. Here we go. Yeah, I'll pull it up for you guys so you guys can come with me on this journey. Give me 1 second. So here's like it was on Attack on Titan apparently, and Leaps in Evolution. So I don't know if, like, obviously it'd be a very short video. Might be kind of cool though, because I'm not really concerned about the length of the videos, if I'm being honest, when it comes to any interpretations of. I just want to cover specific creatures. I wouldn't mind covering that fella. What's your opinion on Altarinus? Oh, Altarinus is a sick dinosaur. I actually just learned about it from walking with dinosaurs recently, but it's really cool. It's a really cool dinosaur. Need more interpretations of pterosaurs? Well, this Saturday, got one coming up. Kanadi, how's it going, man? And what's your favorite thing about making paleo content? I don't know, like probably just honestly, my favorite thing about it is the fact that I now have an excuse to constantly read and keep up with everything. You know, that way I can make sure that I'm on top of everything. So that's probably my favorite thing. And the fact that I just get to talk about paleo things in general, just real awesome. I'm curious, would a stegosaurus be as fast as an elephant or slower? Just curious, since newer depictions have them shown with more upright leg posture than in old depictions. I don't know what our estimations for the speed of a stegosaurus is. I can't see them being overall too fast. I don't know if they'd be faster or slower than an elephant. I don't know if I can help you with that one. Diploculus is a cool creature. I agree. Diploculus is my favorite amphibian. Fun fact. I love Diploculus. I wonder if Dakotaraptor is a valid species, because I personally believe so. What is your opinion on Dakotaraptor? I've spoken to a few people back when I worked at the museum, and there's a lot happening, like a lot shifting behind the scenes. I can't really speak on anything because I didn't actually even get any clarifying answers, but apparently there's more to Dakotaraptor than it simply just being, you know, a chimera. I don't know. I don't know though, and I don't think we'll ever find out unless an official paper gets published. What do I think of the Beast of Mesozoic figures? I love them. Yeah, I love them. I got quite a few of them, and I recently got an Ionosaurus figure from them. I think they do awesome stuff, like incredibly awesome figures that can also articulate. They're just really cool. What do you think of cheeks on theropods? Oh, so yeah, that's actually fairly recent, at least in terms of it being applied to some current reconstructions. For those of you who don't know, you know how like whenever you see like a lot of old depictions of dinosaurs, whenever they open their mouths, like theropods, they'll have like this flap of skin that kind of connects the top of their jaw to their top jaw to their lower jaw. More recent research suggests that they actually had cheeks covering that instead of having that flap of skin. And you actually see that in Walking with Dinosaurs, the most recent iteration of Walking with Dinosaurs. You see that. I think it's pretty cool. It's given what we see, I think that it's probably likely. There is a decent amount of evidence to support it. So yeah, sure. You know, it's pretty cool. I feel that people need to treat dinosaurs like animals and not Hollywood movie monsters. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Did you hear about them finding Tyrannosaurus blood vessels? Kind of blood vessels. It's like the remnants of what once was, I suppose. Not true blood vessels in a way. Have you heard about the Acrocanthosaurus tracks that show bigger gaps where it appeared that they jumped while hunting? No, I haven't heard about that. I know that there's a huge gap in between them because it's thought that they were running while it was happening. So their stride was significantly longer. But I don't think I've heard about them jumping. I'd have to look into that. Is Ionosaurus a separate genus compared to Styracosaurus? I thought it was, but seeing Ionosaurus as a type of Styracosaurus on Path of Titans confused me. It's separate. That's just kind of like Path of Titan's way of giving you an extra ceratopsian that you get to play as. You know, you get just a different species that's basically a different genera entirely. But yeah, Ionosaurus is separate from Styracosaurus. There are a plethora of synapomorphies, or a lot of things that kind of separate the two genera from each other. I heard the reason that Caprasuchus won't appear in Primitive War is because they think that people won't be interested in a crocodile. I could potentially see that. I mean, obviously, I think that Caprasuchus is a Notosuchian, but it just looks like a crocodile. Uh, I think that they put Spinosaurus in there because they think that Spinosaurus is popular, which obviously they're right. Spinosaurus is popular, and so I think that's just a way to get more butts and seats, I suppose. Help support the movie. Also, in the book, of course, there's like a ton of Caprasuchuses. This way, you only have to animate like 2 Spinosaurs instead of a ton of Capros. I don't know. It is a bit unfortunate that it doesn't seem like Caprasuchus is going to be in the movie, but we'll Year of the Spinosaurs, baby. Yeah, exactly. It's the Year of the Spinosaurs. We have to keep contributing to that. If you could have a reasonable dinosaur/pterosaur pet, what would it be? I think a raptor with sheaths for the claws would be adorable. That would be adorable. I would like to go for Psittacosaurus, but I always say this. I have a feeling that a Psittacosaurus would bite my fingers off. That beak, that beak was pretty robust. Love to see more Cenozoic animals. Oh yeah, and here pretty soon we got Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. That was awesome. I'm very excited for that. What dubious animals would you wish were valid again? I don't think I really have any. The only one I kind of wished for, I suppose you could say I wished for, was for Troodon, because it's always like a long explanation to try to explain to people why Troodon wasn't valid anymore. And so it was like, every time I brought up Troodon, like whenever people wanted me to talk about Troodon, I always had to explain that it's a nomen dubium currently. And that was always like a lengthy process. So I always like had hope that eventually we would identify a neotype or something along those lines to establish Troodon as its own genus. That way I didn't have to do that anymore. Because of course, not everybody knows about the 2017 paper that basically made Troodon invalid as a name rather. Not everybody knew that. So, it became like, as a science communicator, it becomes part of your job to try to help explain that every time someone doesn't know that. But it got to be exhausting because Troodon is one of those dinosaurs that everybody knows about. So every time it was brought up, I was like, oh, no, I got to explain this again. So now that it possibly might be valid again, I'm happy about that because it's easier. It's just if someone says that Troodon is their favorite dinosaur, yeah, sweet. That works, Lakota, how are we doing, buddy? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How you doing? I'm making it. I'm making it through the week. I'm surviving. Where's my hat? It's over there. I guess I don't technically need it on right now because I'm not listening to anything. So I'll just keep my headphones right here. And I'll just put my hat on. That way I complete the look. And then if I ever watch anything, if we need to watch something, then I'll just put my headphones back on. Perfect. I'm a smart man. Sometimes. You like my haircut? Thank you. Thank you. I was growing my hair long for a while, but I've started running again, and it's been really hot in Colorado recently, and running with long hair, and it wasn't like long enough to put up into a ponytail or anything, so it was just miserable. So I just shaved it. Let's see here. How many terror birds do you know? I know Forest Raucus, Kalinkin, and Titanus, and Siriema. Siriema is actually not it's not a Forest Rockid. It's it's Forest Rockids. They're like terror birds. That's the nickname basically for Forest Rockidae. So that means there's only a few animals that are actually terror birds. Siriema is the closest relative to terror birds, but it's not a terror bird itself, unfortunately. And as far as ones that I know, I just made a video about one today, but I'm spacing on the name of it. But it's like a relatively small one. And yeah, I know Titanus, Forest Raucus, and Kalinkin, of course. There are a few more out there, but if Dakota Raptor is valid, you should start calling Lakota Raptor. I think that is what he's called on Instagram, so that would work out. Do I think that Spinosaurids had lips? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I don't think that they're as semi-aquatic as some researchers think that they were. They just don't have the proper adaptations for it. So I think the lips certainly do make sense for them, just like for any other theropod. What are your thoughts on Ecos Labrea's work in progress mammoth? You know, I don't know if I've seen it quite yet. Let's check it out. I should probably make it so that you guys can see. That would certainly make sense, wouldn't it? So I think this fella right here, I think that would probably count. Or are we getting Mastodon? I can't remember if the woolly mammoth actually lived in the La Brea area. I don't think it did. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. But anyway, looked like that said Colombian mammoth, which I think that they did live. We officially announced during their collab with La Brea Tar Pits, we officially announced the Colombian mammoth as an upcoming playable in Nikos La Brea. Okay. Colombian mammoth's a good choice. It's interesting how much wool they gave it, though. Colombian mammoths, they lived in a warmer area, so it's pretty much it's pretty likely that they had pretty sparse fur, though this isn't really outside the realm of possibility. That's exciting. I'll definitely have to play that when that comes out. Do you think that prehistoric planet Ice Age will have prehistoric humans like Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, Floriensis, etc.? It might. There's a good chance that it will, considering the fact that it seems to be taking place in the Pleistocene. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I don't know if they will though, because that would certainly be a jump. You know, the prehistoric planet's kind of been established with only creatures only with the first 2 seasons, and then the 3rd season making a jump to humans might be a little bit jarring for a few people, but I could still see it. I think I could still see it. I'm just saying, like, it's a possibility. You know, humans very much were a part of ecosystems at that time. What do I think about the babies in Jurassic World Evolution 3? Oh, I love them. I'm glad that they're finally doing that. You know, I think that's a great step in a great direction. Do you think the Spinosaurus wore a propeller hat and constantly had a rainbow lollipop? Indeed. Yes, absolutely. What are your thoughts on the original King Kong? So I never actually watched the original King Kong. I watched it in a way that, like, the 2005 was kind of like a faithful remake of it. I kind of watched it that way, but I've only ever seen like bits and pieces of it growing up, and I never actually fully watched it. The stop motion works really good. I could say that. Australopithecus opinion. I actually just made a video about that on TikTok not too long ago. It's a tricky dinosaur. It's identified from a whole tooth, and similar to the Troodon issue that we had for a long time, it's difficult to identify a whole like genus off of teeth alone, because you don't have enough skeletal material to compare with future fossil findings. So it's difficult to classify what is this animal and what is not this animal. So Australopithecus is just like, it could have been like an early Spinosaurid, lived in the late Jurassic, or it could have not been. It could have been something that just had a very, like, obviously the tooth is very rounded like Spinosaurid teeth, but it is also very serrated, which is something that later Spinosaurids, they don't have much in the way of serrations. They do, like, a lot of them still do have serrations, but they don't have much in the way of that. So either this tells us that early Spinosaurids had serrations, but then they lost them as they evolved, or this is just another theropod. That's the trouble with it, because you just need more fossil material to compare. So I don't know. Australopithecus is difficult. just asking if you have seen the new PK update trailer coming out sometime this week, and if so, are you going to be making a video on it? Can't wait for the Majestic Gallimimus. Have they released a trailer for it? Because I've been waiting for that. Let me check. Doesn't look like it's released a trailer quite yet, unfortunately. But when they do release the trailer, I'll definitely be making a video about it. I'm very excited. Yeah, the Gallimimus looks incredible, and the Oviraptors look incredible too. Do you know Zrad stuff? I don't. I don't think I do. Which dinosaur would represent the Indominus Rex? I don't know. I've Mario Lanzas. He does amazing paleo art. He once did like a sort of like Jurassic comparison to their accurate counterparts, and what he placed in like what he had in place of Indominus Rex was Mapusaurus. So we'll just say Mapusaurus. I think Mapusaurus is as good of a comparison as any, given the skull shape mostly, and I guess the overall size. Do you think that the Leelanosaur really did have a long tail and huge eyes? Possibly. There is still evidence for it. The huge eye one is iffy because it seems like the one that was preserved with eyes was a young individual, so that was most likely just an adaptation for it being young, you know, because young animals typically have proportionally large eyes, and then as they mature, those eyes become, you know, more proportional with their body. So I don't know about the huge eyes. The tail does seem pretty likely at the moment, anyway. What do you think about splitting Tyrannosaurus into 3 species: Imperator, Rex, and Regina? Yeah, no, that doesn't really track. Like the whole approach is just faulty at best. You know, just like dividing, you're trying to divide species up into 3 different separate species based off of minor things that can be boiled down, like can just be chalked up to individual variation, like tooth count and things like that. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of people who are born with an extra wisdom tooth. By that logic, they're technically a different species from the rest of us. That's just, it's faulty. It's faulty. Macraensis was different because it was there's a feasible amount of differences. There was about as much differences between Tyrannosaurus macraensis and Tyrannosaurus rex as there are differences between the tiger and the lion, which are also both parts of the same genus. Why are Spinosaurid fossils so incomplete? There is a pretty decent preservation bias when it comes to Spinosaurid fossils because Spinosaurids were a lot more lightly built than some other theropods. So when they die and they decompose, their bones can break down a lot quicker than most other types of animals. Not to mention, like, of course, they did, you know, they would die near rivers and whatnot a lot more frequently, so their bones can get dragged all over the place, which that's how fossilization happens anyway, so that's not a huge hindrance, but kind of like mixed in with the fact that they have weak fossils, and plus, you know, obviously scavenging plays a huge role. There's a lot of things that can contribute to an animal not being fossilized as well, and with them having weak fossils is a big one. I thought Macraensis was established. Yeah, it is. That's what I was just saying. There's enough differences between Macraensis and Rex to justify it being its own species, which is in stark contrast to Gregory S. Paul's proposal of Tyrannosaurus regina, Imperator, and, well, yeah, Regina and Imperator being separated from Rex. There's not nearly enough differences, and the differences that are present can easily be chalked up to individual variation. What's my favorite marine reptile? My favorite marine reptile is probably just the mosasaur, if I'm being honest. Mosasaurs are cool. Giant lizards, they're awesome. Do you watch the Vividin? Sometimes I do, yeah. I don't have a lot of time for YouTube, unfortunately, but yeah, I watch his videos every once in a while. What's my most anticipated paleo project? Ooh, right now, Prehistoric Planet, Ice Age. I'm just so excited for that. I absolutely love, like, the Cenozoic, and I'm glad that it's getting the Prehistoric Planet treatment. Favorite sauropod is Alamosaurus. Awesome little dude. Awesome little dude. Do you like Chasmosaurus? It's my favorite ceratopsian. I do like Chasmosaurus. It is a very cool ceratopsian. I really like the shape of its skull. Let me get caught up real quick. Would the primeval Dracorex be a viable carnivore? I don't know. Was it in the... It's been forever since I've seen it. There's a good chance it was. Okay. I'm finally caught up. There we go. Which is cooler to you? Oops, what happened to it? There it is. Which is cooler to you, and why? Concavenator or Ceratosaurus? Oh, that's tough. That is tough. I think Ceratosaurus. The Ceratosaurus has been one of my favorites for a while, and I just really like its head ornamentation. Really, I like the nasal structure, the lacrimal structures. It's all really cool. What's my favorite animal to play as in the Isle of Rima? Humans. Humans have been really fun. If you find like a server that has, humans to play, even though they're not like officially integrated into the game, it's just really fun. It feels like a horror game. If you could make a video with the Gaming Beaver, what would it be about? Oh, I have no idea. Probably something Jurassic related, but I'm not too sure what. Why are we frozen? There we go. What do you think of the Titanosaurus being called 11 tons in Rebirth, as well as being dubious? Well, in terms of it being called 11 tons, that kind of sounds like they gave the actor a script and they had an idea of how big they were going to make an animal, and then they made that. Then they recorded everything, and then when they were adding the CGI, obviously they made it way bigger than 11 tons. That's kind of the impression I get from that. And as far as Titanosaurus being like a nomen dubium, that's a tough one. I mean, well, it's not a tough one. It's just currently Titanosaurus is problematic. It's not really an exact genus. So you can probably call the Titanosaurs like a different type of animal that lived in that same clade, the Titanosauria clade, like Argentinosaurus or Icysaurus or Patagotitan or any of those creatures, maybe even Alamosaurus, but it's still very different from most of those. But you can also just call it generically. You can just call it Titanosaur. It's just that's not specific, but that just means you're referring to an animal that lives within the Titanosauria clade. So, yeah, that technically works too. You're playing as a Maiasaur in the Isle currently? That's awesome. I played as the Maiasaur a little bit. I really like the model. I think it's very good. Opinion on Allosaurus anax. I like it. It's very cool. It's a big Allosaurus. Can't go wrong. What is the coolest ceratopsian you know? The coolest ceratopsian that I know is Pachyrhinosaurus. That is my favorite ceratopsian anyway. What modern bird reminds you the most of dinosaurs? So we've gotten to the point with me that's like I've reread the same things over and over again, and it's like gotten to the point where it's like it's just I'm so used to just birds being dinosaurs in general that like whenever I think of like birds that remind me the most of dinosaurs, it's every bird. Like whenever I'm walking around, it's like, oh look, there's a dinosaur over there. But as far as like ones that remind me the most of like non-avian dinosaurs, it's a broad topic because Dinosauria is incredibly diverse, including even if you're just looking at specifics or specifically the non-avian portion. But like the ones that you could like the best options are probably like the cassowary or just any ratite really. I think that most people would think of dinosaurs when they see those, even though they're no more dinosaurs than hummingbirds are. But yeah, probably just something around those. Who is your favorite character from the Primitive War novel? So I really liked Ryan's story, especially with the mask and everything. Ryan Baker doesn't seem like that's something that's going to be transporting or like transitioning over to the movie, as he doesn't even have a mask in the trailers. So, but it's I think that he's probably, I mean, he's obviously like basically the main character, so it's easiest to get attached to him. But yeah. How many primitive war books are there? Is there just one? I know that there's at the very least three. There's a first novel. There's a second novel, and I know that there's some that like kind of take place in between. So maybe two, like three or four. Hey, and Alden, thank you for the $5. Let's hope if the next T-Rex has lips in the next Jurassic film and acts like an animal again, like Rebirth or Fang from Primal. Fang from Primal would be really cool. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some oral tissue present. And again, thank you. I know the actor from True Blood. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen him before. Honestly, obviously low budget films. There's probably a lot of actors that I wouldn't recognize, but what just happened there? Ow. Sorry, something just came up. I gotta check this real quick. There we go. All right, there we go. Opinion on the steppe mammoth. Oh, steppe mammoth. They're cool. They were big, that's for sure. Like they were huge. I don't know. Just any animal that lived in the mammoth steppe is just it's really fascinating. Like the mammoth steppe is an environment that doesn't really exist anymore today. So just it existing in general is just really cool. I'll probably like get up that screen a little bit. No way Buddy is ignoring a donut. I didn't ignore it. I said thank you and I answered his question. What are you talking about? Opinion on Pachycephalosaurus. It's my favorite dinosaur. Pachycephalosaurus is really cool. It's a really cool dinosaur. Like Pachycephalosaurs in general, they're really weird. Like they branched off from ceratopsians, so they are the closest relatives to ceratopsians, which is pretty cool. Pachycephalosaurus in general, it's just kind of like, the fact that it evolved having such a thick dome and everything and a skeletal structure to match, it's just so interesting. They should either teach prehistory in history classes or make it its own subject, because I think it's just so interesting. Yeah, we don't. As far as I remember, we didn't really. They don't really teach much about it when you're in regular school, because it's I don't know. It is a very layered topic, and so there's like a lot of things that they can't really cover. I know that we definitely can't cover it in regular history, because there's a lot of things you get to learn from that, because history is important. Learning history is very important, because you need to know about the mistakes of the past, so you don't so you don't make those mistakes again. It's very important. So I don't know, having your own prehistory class would probably be pretty cool. How many velociraptors, paleo accurate, can you take on in a fight barehanded? Oh, but probably not even one. It's still all claws and teeth. Mess me up. Would you have liked to watch this Cenozoic segment from Fantasia? Was there a Cenozoic segment? I don't think there was. That would have been cool. That would have been really cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Why are we freezing? Why are we freezing? Why does it do this every time? Gosh dang it. I watch just to see if it works out. Tips on colleges if I want to become a paleontologist. So for me personally, I'm currently off and on with college. I am like halfway through a degree because school is expensive. So like keep that in mind. It's very difficult. I mean, not difficult, but like if you want to, I mean, obviously you don't need a degree to be a paleontologist. There are amateur paleontologists that exist, and science communication is of course a path. Like if you can become knowledgeable about the topic, you don't necessarily need a degree. to be a paleontologist, it's ideal. It helps you get jobs and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily needed. Now, me personally, I'm going for it. I've been going for it for years, but I've had to stop every once in a while because school is expensive. But if you want to go, it's ideal to go for either geology or biology. And in terms of biology, going for like evolutionary biology is a good focal point. That's currently what I'm doing. But again, it's not really, you don't have to. You definitely can become really knowledgeable in a lot of this stuff if you're willing to learn. Did you see any of the Jurassic Park movies in theaters? No. The last one, Jurassic Park 3, came out in 2001. I was but 1 year old when that came out, so I could not see it. Can't you do zoology also for paleontology? Absolutely, you can. Getting the knowledge of modern day animals can definitely help. Like if you're taking biology that has more so an emphasis on zoology, then that is definitely a good route to take. It offers a lot of really good tools now. It's also preferable if you want to take the degree route, it's preferable to major in one of those fields and then minor in the other one. Like say, for example, what I've been attempting to do recently is I started off trying to major in geology and then minoring in biology. Turns out I didn't like geology that much. So I switched it to majoring in biology and then minoring in geology. But it all boils down to you. Do you think we'll ever get a Dilophosaurus in the movie franchise? Maybe. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they put... Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they put practically anything. Dilophosaurus would be a good one to see. It's got a very interesting shape about it. Do you think that we will ever find anything bigger than a blue whale? Oh, it's certainly possible. You know, with the millions upon millions of species that have ever existed on Earth. Absolutely. Because like when you think about it, we are living in one little small snapshot of all like the billions of years that the Earth has been around. Obviously, you know, the life hasn't been around for that long, but you know, for the millions upon millions upon millions and billions of years that life has existed on Earth, we're just a little snapshot. And there are millions of species that are alive today. So just imagine looking at another snapshot like a million years ago. Imagine how many species existed then, like millions upon millions. We've like barely scratched the surface of how many species existed throughout Earth's history. So there is certainly a chance that there's something that existed that was bigger than the blue whale. We just have yet to find it. It's just right now, as far as we know, the blue whale's the biggest. That's just as far as we know, though. There's way more to learn about. Is paleontology a master's degree? Not necessarily. There's some avenues you can work in collections and you can work as a proprietor without a degree. Even me, I volunteered at a museum for a little bit. Not nearly. I didn't volunteer for a long time, but I was able to work on fossils and I was allowed into the collections room and everything when I did volunteer. So there are avenues to getting a job or working in paleontology that don't require a degree, and so you definitely don't need a master's degree to do it. It helps, but like you definitely don't need like your master's or a PhD. Like I have some not colleagues, but like some friends who are paleontologists who like they don't go for their their PhD because that's just more money and there's not even like a pay boost or anything like that. Have I been to Australia? No, but I would love to go. It'd be very cool to go there. How big was, Jesus, I cannot speak right now. How big was Paracetus colossus? It's been downsized recently. I don't remember by how much, so I'm going to find out. But it's no longer larger than the blue whale, based on more recent estimations. It definitely wasn't longer than the blue whale. It is currently Why aren't you giving me the weight? Well, okay, as far as the weight goes, we do know that it is smaller than the blue whale. Again, per more current estimations. 35 to 40 metric tons, with a high end of around 50 tons, significantly smaller than a blue whale. Have I ever been to Japan? Yeah, that was that was a stutter upon stutters. Have I ever been to Japan? No, I have not. No, I've actually never been outside of the country, which is lame. I almost did, but then something we like to call COVID-19 happened. Are Utah raptors permitted in the Mall of America? Yes. How many dinosaur species have been found? So, excluding birds, closer to 1,500. Including birds, well over 10,000. Lots of dinosaurs. Do you think the ichthyotitan could have been larger than a blue whale? Possibly. Possibly. From the fossils that are available, it's always difficult to say, but possibly, yeah, it's a possibility. The chance, like, that's also one of the frustrating things is like fossilization is an incredibly rare process, and the chances that the largest individuals of a species fossilized is pretty low. So that's why it's always like kind of iffy to try to, you know, establish who's bigger than who. Obviously we can, given like what we have available. That like what we have available tells us that Tyrannosaurus rex is the largest theropod, for example, or what we have available tells us that the blue whale is the largest animal to ever exist. But there's always that possibility that the largest individuals did not even fossilize, and then that's, you know, that's always a sinking thing. What is your favorite book that you owned? So currently, the book I'm reading right now, my favorite, which is currently my favorite, is The Paleo Artist's Handbook by Mark Whitten. I freaking love this book. Like, even if you're not really like wanting to get into paleo art, it just offers a lot of really good insight about how to properly reconstruct animals and what to keep an eye out for. It even just helps you as a regular person. Me as a scientific communicator, it certainly helps me a lot when trying to explain specific things about dinosaur or other prehistoric anatomy. You know, it's awesome. It's a great book. I love it. I'm not finished with it, but I love it. When will you do another paleo art reaction? It will be a minute. It'll be a minute. I like to keep a lot of space in between those because those videos, they're a little bit stressful because I want to try to get everybody's, and then they're like really long and everything. But I don't want to like do them too frequently. Otherwise they'll lose how special they're supposed to be, you know? Also give everybody a chance to make new art and whatnot. So do I have a Spinosaurus tooth? Yes, it's a replica, but I do have it right here. I have a real one somewhere, but I don't like to keep that one out. I think it might be in my shed. I think everything's frozen. Why is everything frozen? There we go. And I wanted to show you my paleo art. Well, then you definitely can the next time we do one. We're just not going to do one quite yet. I'll do it eventually. I like that series because, you know, I like showing off everybody's art. You know, I think that it's very important. Supporting artists is always important, if you ask me. What is my favorite pachyderm? The African bush elephant. Elephants are so freaking cool. You have no idea. I love elephants. And the fact that an animal like that lives today, that's sick. I love that. I think we are frozen. Why does it do that? There we go. And like, I can't read anybody's thing either. What is the largest Dilophosaurus? Per estimations, Pycnonemosaurus is, but Pycnonemosaurus is known from very few fossils, so it's always iffy to try to establish size from that. What do you think Megaraptorans descended from? Yes, I know it's very much debated. So Megaraptorans, aren't they currently within Tyrannosauroidea? Last I heard. Let me check. I think I heard in a Benji Thomas. Yes, Megaraptora is currently within Tyrannosauroidea officially. That is probably going to change in the future. I wouldn't be surprised, but officially they are currently within Tyrannosauroidea. So, kind of seems like Megaraptorans evolved from Tyrannosauroids, or branched off from Tyrannosauroids, rather. It's interesting where they're. I should probably show you guys. It's interesting where they're kind of nestled. Like here's Megaraptora down here. Obviously, you see they can trace their roots all the way back to Tyrannosauroidea over here. But it's interesting that they kind of like branched off from other Tyrannosauroids, like like Tyrannosaurids down here, and Dryptosaurus, Appalachosaurus, Hevisur, and Teratophonius. That is interesting. So that's cool. And obviously they kind of split off from these distantly related Tyrannosauroids, like a lot closer to Eutyrannus and Eotyrannus, which is interesting, and Ceots and all of those guys. But here they are. This been more specifically Megaraptoroidea or Toridae, Megaraptoridae. Golly, like Aristion. Jeez, man, what is wrong with me today? Australovenator, Megaraptor, or Orcoraptor. Yeah. I remember hearing that in a recent video I was watching. I think it was a Benji Thomas video. So yeah, currently consensus states that they are Tyrannosauroids. Have you heard of what happened to Eocarchia? Oh no, I know that fellow. Okay. Or are you skipping me because you already knew? I'm not skipping you. Guys, I get a lot of comments. Jeez, Lou. And no, I don't even think I've heard of that. Are we frozen? At 1 minute in Jurassic World Evolution 3 feature showcase, you can see showcase there is a baby Spinosaurus at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I saw that. Some people pointed that out to me. A little tease. It's awesome. It's very awesome. Eocarcharia is a Spinosaurid now. Is it really? Yeah, currently it is. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That is certainly interesting. I have not heard of that. We're frozen. Is there something wrong with my Wi-Fi? There we go. Okay. Will it be possible for if anyone could just make their mind? It's very confusing. What are you talking about? I think that I'm missing some things. Did you know that whales are ungulates? Yes, I did. I did know that. Yep, they come from hoofed animals, which is what ungulates are. Do you think that Deinonychus could survive in modern day day America? Well, environment's very different. So that's certainly would play a role, be a huge factor, of course. Favorite aquatic reptile is probably Mosasaurus. Favorite paleo artist, that's a tough one because I have a lot, but I really like Mark Whitten's work. I like Gabriel Gueto. I really like Julio Lacerda. Emily Stepp does really great stuff. There's a lot of really good art out there. Yeah, better read that one. Could Morrison fauna survive modern-day Africa? Possibly, given how similar some of those environments were, I suppose. But, of course, how rapidly changing our environment is today, it's kind of difficult for many things to survive. Gabriel Gueto's the goat. I know, right? Freaking awesome work. Did you know the hippos can't swim? Yeah, you're right. They walk on the bottom of the water. They walk. They don't swim. I mean, make up their minds with science theories and opinions. Oh, well, that's just science in general. Especially a field like paleontology where new evidence sheds new light on different things. So, some things that you thought you knew beforehand can be shifted by a piece of evidence. That's just science. That's just science in general. It's not a case of like making up minds. It's a case of like looking at the evidence that's present and coming to different conclusions based off of that evidence. Like take, for example, the Eocarcharia. New evidence seems to suggest that it was a Spinosaurid. Will that change in the future? Maybe. Maybe. Possibly. That's so interesting, though. I didn't know that. What is the most underrated Mesozoic formation in your opinion? Prince Creek. It's a really cool formation. Has a lot of really cool animals in it, including Pachyrhinosaurus. What would be the worst death in the Mesozoic? I'm trying to think of something that's like very specific for the Mesozoic that you wouldn't be able to get anything anywhere else. Of course, eaten by a giant theropod is probably pretty unique, so I guess we'll say something like that. Or mauled by a giant herbivore. Of course, you can get that today with elephants and whatnot. What was Concavenator's hump used for? So that's not quite known. It's there's a lot of ideas of what it's potentially used for. One of my favorite ideas was done by Mark Whitten. You can actually see it in the art book called Mesozoic Art, where assuming that some plants in the environment kind of looked like Concavenator's hump, maybe it could have used it for camouflage. Prince Creek is goated? It is indeed. If you could, would you retcon Rebirth? Oh, that's a question. No. I don't know. This franchise is kind of getting away from me right now. There's a lot happening in the Jurassic franchise. It's difficult to say anything about the future. Oh, Kanadi! Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Just thought you deserved this. Here you go, my God. Oh, I appreciate it, man. That's very much appreciated. You're awesome, dude. Thank you. And now it's frozen. No, there we go. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's really awesome. Imagine if there were a giant mantis in real life, like Goosebumps. Oh yeah, like what was that? Shocker on Shock Street, I think it was. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was a good book. Well, those were good books in general. Yeah, thank you, Kanadi. I really do appreciate that, man. Do you know what genus Gorosaurus was? Like the kaiju? I don't know what genus he was. Isn't there a dinosaur called Gorosaurus? There's Gorgosaurus. I don't know about Gorosaurus. Is there? Let me check. I'm actually kind of curious now. That just made up for... Yeah, it was just made up. Darn. It was probably based off of Allosaurus or something, given its time. Allosaurus was depicted in media a lot, and it has 3 fingers and whatnot. So if I had to guess, maybe an Allosaurus. Gorosaurus, here's the King Kong wiki. Approximate lizard or dreadful lizard is a giant bipedal dinosaur or an evolved Allosaurid. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, maybe like an Allosaurus or something like that, like a stylized Allosaurus, I suppose. It looks pretty cool. I like it. Looks pretty cool. Pretty sure the Goro was based off of Allo. Okay, so I am on the right track. Quite proud of myself with that one. Quite proud of myself. It's got like that classic Carnosaur look, though. Pretty outdated, all things considered. Did you know about the new map in Ecos La Brea, by the way, that was a Caprimyrix, not a baby deer? By the way, that was a Caprimyrix. Oh. Was I chasing the thing that I called a baby deer? That's probably what happened. It's been a while since I played Ecos. I'm excited to play it again, though I missed that game. I thought it was really fun. I think we need more Cenozoic survival games like that. It was great fun. Favorite extant animal? There's a lot that I love. As I mentioned before, I really like African bush elephants. I also really like Komodo dragons and giraffes. Giraffes are sick. Like, don't get me started about giraffes, all right? All right. What is the largest stegosaurus? I think Stegosaurus still holds the crown. I think. I'm pretty sure. Pronghorn? Pronghorn are awesome. There's a lot of pronghorn where I live, and I love going out and taking pictures of them. They're sick. They look like they belong in Africa, but here they are, North America. It's awesome. What's my favorite marsupial? What is my favorite marsupial? I think we'll just go with the wombat. Wombats are weird. You know about wombats? The fact they have like a cartilage behind and everything, and they're weird animals. They're cool. The bearded vulture is rad. The bearded vulture is sick. Birds in general are just sick. Do you think the Jurassic World Evolution 3 Baby Spino will also have a reduced sale like other recent interpretations? I think so. That just makes sense for it, because obviously it can't hatch with it. Egg stuff, you know. Nobody talks about La Colonia formation. It has a ton of underrated animals like Facilosuchus and Rheosaurus, but nobody talks about any of them truly underrated. It is a very cool formation. Facilosuchus too, and like particular, like even though it's only known from very fragmentary fossils, like a lot of animals, it's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool. I meant Los Colorados. What did you say? Colonia. Oh, I didn't even catch that, so you're good. Have I ever played Jurassic Blocky? If you haven't, can you check it out sometime? It's pretty fun. I could probably add that to my list. I don't think I haven't checked it out. I can tell you that. Pokesaurus, how's it going, man? I wish more baby dinosaurs would be depicted as small clones of the adults. How dare you? That doesn't make any sense. Ontogenetically. Do you lean towards the bumps on Concavenator's arms to be quill modules or muscle attachments? See, my thing with that is that I don't know, because I don't know how to determine what the differences between quill knobs and muscle attachment points are. Like, I've spoken to a few people about it, and they lean more so towards the muscle attachments. Or at least I've talked to one person about it, and they lean more towards like the muscle attachment points. So if that's what they lean more towards, then I guess that's why I lean more towards. But yeah, so that's a tough one. I wouldn't be surprised if it did have quill knobs though. I want to suggest a Minecraft mod called Prehistoric Fauna. I think I've heard of that one before. I might have looked into it, and I don't know if it came up. Yeah, you gotta type in Oh, I've seen this one before. Okay. Yeah, it's certainly got interesting designs. Very blocky. Minecraft, am I right? That's cool, though. Yeah, there's some cool designs here. I might have to check it out sometime. I just recorded a Minecraft video today. I have plans on... Ooh, the Tyrannosaurus looks sick. But I have plans on, like, posting that on... Eventually. I don't know when, but eventually I'll post it. I want to suggest a mod called Better Minecraft, just a better version. Hey, I'm all down for that. Have I ever played Planet Zoo? Yes, a little bit. Back when I had my Xbox, when they released the console version, I downloaded it to try to play it. The modular building didn't work too well with the console, so I didn't play too much of it. But I want to play it again because it's a really cool game, and extant animals are awesome. I should probably keep an eye on the time too, make sure we're not going too far over. Ooh, we're at an hour. I don't know. What time is it? Probably gonna have to stop in like half an hour. We got half an hour, guys. All right, so let's hash it out. Talk it over. And I think we're frozen. What did I do? Gosh dang it. There we go. I think we're good. The Elliott Formation is one of the most underrated formations. It has some cool dinosaurs like Massospondylus, Dracovenator, Ledumahadi, and a giant undescribed Facilosuchus-sized Rausuchian. I don't know if I've ever looked into that formation. I'm going to have to look into it now. Favorite Dinobot? I don't know. I never watched it, unfortunately. The T-Rex, though. I'll say the T-Rex. Gosh dang it. Now, like, it freezes and then I get behind on comments. I apologize to everybody I'm missing right now because I do see some. I definitely feel like growth in Jurassic World Evolution 3 won't be gradual. It'll probably be like Planet Zoo. That's exactly how I feel. And that's a little bit unfortunate because I do love ontogeny. Ontogeny is a very cool thing, you know? And like we're learning more about it all the time with dinosaurs. And like seeing it in Prehistoric Planet is just, it's really cool. Wild World, how you doing, man? Oh, and thank you for the donation, dude. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a great day, man. I've said this a few times, but I really appreciate all the work you put into your channel. Same goes to you, man. I really like your videos are freaking awesome, and I really appreciate all the support that you've been giving the channel. Like that really does mean a lot. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys are absolutely awesome, and then thanks for dropping by again, dude. Like, you know, I see you pop up all the time, and it's always like, I like that guy. You know, I appreciate it, man. Have I ever played Dinosaur Simulator? No, I have not, unfortunately. Beside the first Jurassic Park movie, what Jurassic movie do you think has the best visuals? The best visuals? The Lost World is still really good, I think. The Lost World is, yeah, I think the Lost World is still up there. In your opinion, which fully grown megatheropod would be the most likely to try to pursue and attack a human for food, not counting juvenile megatheropods? What would we consider a megatheropod in this case? It'd probably just be the heavy hitting. I don't know, probably something that's, well, realistically, anything if it's hungry enough, I guess. I don't know. We'll probably lean more so towards like one of the relatively small carcharodontosaurids. It feels like they would have like the 5+ tons. That's what we're considering megatheropod. In that case, that opens up the door. That opens up the door. Like trying to whittle it down to like the I don't even have to whittle it down to one, but like I'm trying to whittle it down to one. I'm trying to think. I think Allosaurus is, I don't think Allosaurus is 5 tons, is it? Actually, it might have been like around 5 short tons. Let's just say like Allosaurus or something like that. Did I see the AI primitive war poster? AI primitive war poster? No, I have not. Are you talking about the one where it's like the guy shooting at the Utah Raptor? Because I think that they have confirmed that that was commissioned. It does look a little bit off. Did you know that the mystery sauropod in Primitive War is actually Dreadnoughtus? Yes, I saw that too. I know that a lot of the people who have been modeling the dinosaurs have been coming out and talking about them, and they said that's a Dreadnoughtus and doesn't look that great as a Dreadnoughtus. It was tweaked with AI. Gosh, dang it. In what way? Do we have confirmation on that, though, is the thing. By the way, love you and Dino Facts and the Devils of Vulture Valley album by the Grand Myth. Listened to the album probably 7 times now. It was sick, man. The Grand Myth did an awesome job. It was really fun to what am I trying to say? It was really fun to get eaten by a dinosaur in that. Like, that was really fun. I mean, the hands look pretty decent. It does, like, I mean, in a lot of ways, it looks like it is a vintage, like, 60s style art, which is, I know what they were going for when they commissioned it. I don't know. The director denies it, however, there's multiple signs. Well, what are the signs? Because I'm looking. It did get the hands correct, which is, of course, one of the big ones. And I mean, not the human hands. Raptor hands are a little bit off. It's the correct gun, too. I don't know. Did you know that Walking with Dinosaurs plays on Roku very often? I did not know that, no. Walking with Monsters and Beasts, too? Oh, that's sick. I didn't know that. What's the goofiest dinosaur name in your opinion? I will be shocked if it's not Gremlin, Toledo, or Toledo Thanos, or oh yeah, okay. I'm trying to like choose one that's not one of those. Bambi Raptor. That's of course classic Bambi Raptor. Yeah, Bambi Raptor is kind of weird. What do you think of the new species in Jurassic World Evolution 3? Oh, I love them so far. We're getting some really good creatures, especially Lokiceratops. Lokiceratops looks beautiful. Like they killed it with that design, and it's just awesome. Like we're getting a lot of really cool creatures in that game. Want to talk about Purosaurus? Ooh, some cool stuff about Purosaurus. That was weird, but some cool stuff about Purosaurus recently happened. A terror bird has been found with Purosaurus bite marks in the legs. So that means Purosaurus, the giant caiman, ate a terror bird, maybe even attacked it. That's just cool. That's like a clash of worlds that you never even think of. But of course, these were living animals that went through a variety of different things on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, it's very cool. I should probably make a short about it or something, but it's a really cool recent discovery. We need media about the Jurassic period. Yeah, I'm hoping that after Prehistoric Planet does the Pleistocene, I'm hoping that they do go to different time periods like the Triassic and the Jurassic. Now, I know why they don't, because the plant life and the environments looked very different then. Like the reason why they did the Maastrichtian of the late Cretaceous is because the environments are most like the modern day. And that's likely the reason why they're doing the Ice Age, because again, the environments are most like they are today. So it's accurate, it's very accurate, but it's still pretty limiting. There's a lot of creatures that we can see. It's Prehistoric Planet. We could just do that, Was Purosaurus or Dinosuchus bigger? I don't know who's bigger. It's difficult to compare them though, because Dinosuchus is currently not even a crocodilian, and Purosaurus is a crocodilian. So it's like they're two different types of creatures, basically. Walking with Dinosaurs found areas without grass or flowers. Yes, they did. Walking with Dinosaurs always did a really good job at finding different environments. And I hope that eventually they decide to spread their wings with Prehistoric Planet, but like completely like limiting yourself to the Maastrichtian and to just the Ice Age, that's there's just way more that you can do. There's a lot of other time periods that you can take a look at. I'm sure they could do that. Oh yeah, it's a crocodilomorph. It is indeed, yeah, Dinosuchus. But Purosaurus is a giant caiman. Pick up the pace, Prehistoric Planet. Yeah, exactly. I think we froze. No, we didn't. Okay. If you had to add, remove, or change one thing about the first Jurassic Park movie, what would it be? Oh, I don't even know. I love the first Jurassic Park movie. If I had to, though, what would I change about it? The Dilophosaurus. Oh, I'd change the Dilophosaurus. I'd make it a lot more accurate to the novel. I don't like small Dilophosaurus because Dilophosaurus was not small in life. Babies were. And obviously, I think that the intention of the first movie was to make the Dilophosaurus a juvenile. And I think that they were going to change that with later movies, but they never did. Every time we see a Dilophosaurus in the later movies, it's always a small one, and I hate it. I want to see a full one, a grown one. 'Twas a baby. I know. That's what everybody tells me. But again, I say the exact same thing that I just said right then. They need to confirm it on screen. What are the chances that every single Dilophosaurus we've seen since 1993 is a juvenile? Every one, even from Camp Cretaceous, they were all small. If you, I just want a big Dilophosaurus, you know. I want an 8-foot tall Dilophosaurus. That's all I want. What was bigger, Tarbosaurus or Juchang Tyrannus? Ooh, I think Jutang Tyrannus was a lot more hefty, so maybe Jutang. Do they just never grow up? By this point, I'm starting to think that's what happens. Or that is just what the grown-up one is. And in Jurassic World Evolution 3, we see a baby Dilophosaurus. That means they're acting like the small one is the grown one. It's so frustrating, man. I just want the big one. Considering that Dinosaurs did constantly eat fish, there's a chance that it had those nightmarish throat and tongues that penguins had. Oh. Yeah, I mean, sure. There's definitely a possibility for that given the lifestyle, similar lifestyles. What would you change about the Lost World? I don't know if there is anything I'd change, because there's nothing that's like Dilophosaurus level of because like everything else kind of works pretty well, especially for the time in the movie. So I don't know what I'd change. You know what I'd change about the Lost World? I would put a Dilophosaurus in it, and I'd make it a full-grown one. Like, we'd actually see one. Not an image in the background, which is what everybody says. I would actually, like, put a Dilophosaurus in the movie, and then I'd make it fully grown. That's what I would do. The Lost World is so good. I agree. It's a great film, man. It's always, like, it's always dogged on. I think we're frozen. There we go. Anyone else sick of people trying to call old T-Rexes in media Allosaurus just because it has 3 fingers? Yep. There's one in particular that always annoys me with that one because people always try to yell at me about it. And that's the Fantasia T-Rex, the one that shows up in The Rite of Spring. It has 3 fingers, but it is T-Rex. And there's actually behind the scenes information that confirms it. So, and I'm going to talk about this in like a future video, like one that should be uploading next week. But they went to Barnum Brown, the man who identified Tyrannosaurus Rex, to like get some more information about T-Rex. And he told them that T-Rex had 2 fingers, right? So he gave them the accurate amount of fingers that T-Rex should have, but they decided not to give it 2 fingers. You want to know why? Because Walt Disney thought that 3 fingers would be scarier than 2. That's it. That's just the only reason. It's supposed to be a T-Rex with 3 fingers. That's it. Just because it has 3 fingers doesn't mean it's, you know, people get things wrong in movies all the time. And a lot of times they'll do it for storytelling reasons. So it's still T-Rex. What dinosaur do you think people would be able to ride? Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of options for that. Maybe like something like an ornithomimid, I suppose. It's not like right before the show, the animation, the guy says T-Rex by name. Does he really? Well, people don't remember that part. They only remember the dinosaur part. And they just, I don't know. I got it back when I did like the many interpretations of T-Rex. I included the Fantasia T-Rex. And I had someone who was really angry with me that I included it. He was like, no, it's obviously an Allosaurus because it fights a Stegosaurus and it has 3 fingers. No, I went on a whole huge back and forth. I mean, obviously the fighting a Stegosaurus thing, that was never a good argument because the whole Rite of Spring, the whole Fantasia segment is like a melting pot of a lot of different geological time periods. You had Dimetrodon there. Dimetrodon never even saw a dinosaur, yet it was there. I don't know. There are 2 kinds of people who actually watch Fantasia and people who look up Fantasia clips. Yeah, that usually happens quite a bit too. I don't understand why people get so mad about this kind of stuff. I know, and it happens way more frequently than you would expect. Like, I didn't think it happened that much until I started making content, and all of a sudden I'm getting yelled at for saying things that I thought were common knowledge. Please answer. In my primary school, my teacher said all dinosaurs were discovered by Mary Anning, and I said no or something. It was years ago, and she started arguing with me. That'd be very difficult for Mary Anning to discover all dinosaurs, as there's a lot of them, and many of them were discovered in the modern day. She discovered a lot of really important things, though, such as ichthyosaurs. But she might have discovered dinosaurs, but I can't remember any off the top of my head. If anyone knows any dinosaurs that Mary Anning discovered, please let me know. But I know that she discovered a lot of marine life, like a lot of really good discoveries were made of ichthyosaurs and I think plesiosaurs. Yeah, she didn't even find dinosaurs. She found marine reptiles. Okay, yeah, I didn't think she did. So yeah, your teacher is incorrect on that aspect. She did not find any dinosaurs, unless your teacher thinks that ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs are dinosaurs, in which case she's double incorrect. Am I a FNAF fan? Kind of. Like, I never really got into it too much. I liked the movie. I'll say that. If you use the argument that it's an allo because it fought a stegosaurus, the allo also saw a plesiosaur, or sorry, Platyosaurus, Gallimimus, Nothosaurus, Parasaurolophus, etc. The stegosaurus was just the unfortunate one. Yep. That is exactly correct, because that whole segment was just a melting pot of a lot of different animals. I wouldn't really say accuracy was the main driving point. Why do black and red colors just fit the Carnotaurus? I don't make the rules. They just do. It does, though. I agree. It's awesome. Do you have a favorite figure in your collection? I really like the Mesozoic. Whoops. The Mesozoic life Spinosaurus. And I also really like the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus and my Beast of the Mesozoic T-Rex. Those ones are sick. They're awesome. I think we're froze. There we go. Are we? Are we froze? I think we're froze. No, okay. Okay. Okay, do I have the new Colossal yet? Rex. I do not. I'm actually saving my Colossal spending money for the Spinosaurus one. All for the year of the Spinosaurus, you know. Woolly Mammoth versus Therizinosaurus. Who's winning? That's an interesting fight. I might have to give it to the Mammoth. I think the Mammoth has overall more bulk and it'd have a better chance. Did I freeze? Is it still frozen? It's frozen still? Uh-oh. Why is it doing that? YouTube is not receiving enough video removes to maintain smooth streaming as much as... Why is it doing that? I think I know why it's doing that, and it's because I hit a button, and I think that's kind of messing everything up. Are we back? It looks like we're back. I think my feed shows me that we're back. We're back? Okay, it's back. So, I'm going to end the stream right here. Again, I don't know if this cut out or anything, but next week we're going to try to do another stream. But we are I'm preparing for a trip to Utah to do some dinosaur related things. So I don't know if we're going to have too much time to do a live, but we're going to try to. So keep an eye out for that, and I hope to see all you guys then. But thank you everybody for watching. I do appreciate each and every one of you dropping by and just hanging out for a little bit. It's always great fun. And yeah, all of y'all.